outspoken people of the World Wide Web. So it is Cypher Sigma here, and it is movie review time. So yes, Tuesday night I managed to go out and watch 28 Years Later. So yes, the latest Danny Boyle movie from the trilogy that it is now. So anybody who hasn't seen it, it's basically a continuation of the story of basically zombies. There's an infection that happens in the UK. This leads on to a period where essentially the UK is quarantined. The virus hasn't got any further than the UK. There are ships all around the UK, and then you have this island that is near Newcastle. There is when the tide goes down, there is a walkway between the two, and basically the villagers live on this island off the mainland, and then they send people out periodically to get stuff if they need it. The story centers around, and then obviously this is the story of two going out, and then kind of an evolving story. There's nothing after the credits. I did enjoy it, and let's just say the start of the movie to the end of the movie is very, very different in my eyes. People have said that's a Danny Boyle movie, but I've not really seen many movies of his. And 28 days later and 28 weeks later, it's been so long since I've seen them. It must be the best part of 15 years at least, so I can't remember them at all. But anyway, spoiler warning up, and we shall get into it. So yes, this stars a very small-ish cast. Obviously, we have Jodie Comer as Isla, Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Jamie, Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Kelson, and Alfie Williams as Spike. Essentially, you have Aaron Taylor as the dad, Jodie Comer as the mum, and then Spike as the child. That's who you need to know. And then obviously Ralph Fiennes as the doctor. So essentially, this story starts off with back in the 90s. You have kids, they're all kind of being locked in a living room watching the Teletubbies, and then there's a virus outbreak, and this kid tries to escape. He runs to the church where his dad kind of gets infected, and then he kind of manages to hide, and then that character disappears all the way until the end of the film. So, you don't need to watch any more for his character. You see it like 5 minutes at the end. Then it switches pace. You go to this island. It kind of tells you what has happened. And then you have Aaron Taylor-Johnson that basically he's taking his son Spike out on his first venture. He's a little young. They go to the mainland, and it's his task to basically kill a few zombies to get him used to it, because that's part of his job that he will be doing when he's grown up. They go out. They're meant to come back at night. In between this, they come across a patch of them, and you have what's called an alpha, so a very big, massive zombie. As they try to run away from them, they manage to kill quite a few of them, but ended up getting stuck in the top of a house. While they're in the top of the house, they can see the alpha on a hill, but the young lad also spots a fire off in the distance. One thing leads to another. There's a massive herd of deer that run by, and it causes the chimney to collapse. They have to get out of the house, and then it's then basically running back to their island, because obviously they've had to wait out because the tides come in, and when the tide goes down, then they can get back to it. As they get back to it, the alpha follows them. They manage to, or the security manage to kill the alpha just before they get back, and then it's a all big hoo-ha. In between this, you learn that Aaron Taylor-Johnson's kind of flirting around with another girl. His Spike's mum is ill. You notice that in the beginning, but it's not really clued upon. You don't know what's going on. Spike has a kind of celebratory party, which is kind of what they do on these instances when you go out and come back. He kind of sneaks back to his home, talks to his dad, and his dad tells him about the Dr. Kelso, the Ralph Fiennes character, that there is a doctor, and he's like, "Oh, this doctor can help my mum." His dad comes back in the morning. There's a confrontation between the son and the dad, and then the son's like, "No, you need to get lost." Then what happens is the son sets a fire, distracts the guards, and then him and his mum manage to make their way onto the mainland. And then he's basically, this then story revolves essentially around these two trying to get to the doctor to find out what's going on. In between this, they run into another alpha called Samson. They run into some security guys that have their boat sank, and they've ended up on there from Sweden. You meet a guy, and then obviously you come into this zombie that gives birth to this baby that is normal. So obviously it says in the placenta there's obviously something has happened. They manage to make it to the doctor. The doctor then, Ralph Fiennes, kind of gives them her once over and says essentially it's cancer. she ends up passing away because Ralph Fiennes kills her, because obviously she hasn't got very long. And this kind of matures the character of Spike. Spike takes a child, leaves it at the encampment, and then goes on his own kind of journey within the story. And then as he's camping by the side of the road, some zombies start coming up. He starts killing them until he gets this path. As he's more or less running out of arrows, he then meets the young lad from the beginning, played by Jack O'Connor this time. He looks a bit like an adult Jimmy Savile, and he's got these group of cronies who all look like Jimmy Savile, but they all do martial arts and cut people open with these weapons and stuff like this. And then the film ends. It's so what did I think? So I rate this movie a 6.1 out of 10. It was an enjoyable watch. As I say, I can't remember any of the old stuff, but the movie opens up with it's like a zombie, it's a zombie apocalypse. This is what you're going to see, and you see the alpha, and there's not too much zombie work. They do have, they only have, I think, three main kind of attack lots, more or less, throughout the film, two alphas. But what it essentially becomes, it evolves. By the time you meet Ralph Fiennes and stuff, you've got kind of Elsa, the mum, and obviously Spike, the son, and you've got more or less a collection of them. And it's quite sad of having he's only looking after his mum. His dad's been a bit of an idiot, and obviously when he went out on the first day, he kind of made him look like he was a big person and what he was, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to be false and lying. And he really loves his mum, and then obviously realization that his mum's dying, and he doesn't want her to suffer and stuff like this. Absolutely adored Ralph Fiennes in this. I thought he was actually by far the best part of it. The young lad, Alfie Williams, plays Spike. I thought he was really good as well. As I say, apart from what you see in the trailer, Aaron Taylor Johnson doesn't have much more to do. He's basically left on the island after this, and it's more about Jodie Comer and Spike, which isn't shown in the trailer, which I really like that they did that. Yeah, obviously leaves it open to have a second one, so I'm assuming we will get a succession to this to find out what all these lads are about. Where that goes, I don't know. I enjoy watching the ride and that, but that is my review, very short review this week of 28 Years Later. Have you seen this movie? What are your thoughts and feelings? Let me know in the comments down below. If you feel the need, if you've come along, if you've listened to this bloke and you think, oh, he sounds all right, I quite like what he's saying, do smash that subscribe button. That is always appreciated. Otherwise, hope you're having a nice weekend. Hopefully it's sunny up wherever you are, and I shall definitely see you in the next one.